What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome to another attachment guide for Modern Warfare. This time we're going to be looking at the stock attachments. Now initially I was going to do stock attachments in the individual gun guides where I go into really good detail with all of the important stats of every one of the guns in the game. And I was going to do this because pretty much every gun has various types of stocks with different names, and therefore I thought they were handled differently. But it turns out there are actually 4 generic stock types that are used across almost all of the guns in the game, and they're handled the same for all of the regular guns in the game. So all of the SMGs, assault rifles, LMGs, marksman rifles, there are really only 4 universal stock types. So I'm going to be breaking down those 4 universal stock types. Keep in mind there are a few exceptions here or there where some guns have a very special type of stock, like the P90 for instance has the fly strap stock, which helps with sprint out time. And you don't see a reduction to sprint out time with any of the other stocks in the game. So in those cases, yes, I will be covering those in individual gun guides, but today we're going to be looking at the 4 generic stock types that you see across most of the guns in the game. So basically when we're looking at this, just completely ignore the actual name of the stocks, because that means pretty much nothing. What you want to be looking at instead are the effects that the stock has. So first up we have the stable or heavy stock. This is going to be the one that improves your aiming stability at the cost of your aim walking movement speed. Then we have what I call the strafing stock. This is the one that's going to help you with your aim walking movement speed, but that comes at the cost of aiming stability. After that, we've got our aim down sight stock, which helps with our aim down sight speed, but that comes at the cost of aiming stability. And finally, we have the no stock attachment, or I guess you could call it lack of attachment. And this is also often combined with a collapsible stock. So some of the SMGs, instead of having the no stock option, they'll have a collapsible stock. They actually have the exact same effects. And with those, they will help with your overall movement speed as well as your aim down sight speed at the cost of aiming stability and recoil control. So as complicated as it might look when you see all the different names of the different stocks for each different gun, it's actually really simple. We've got 4 different stock types and their effects are universal across all of the guns, and we're going to be breaking those effects down today. So first up, let's hop into the stable or heavy stock. For the M4, this is called the M16 stock. For the MP5, for instance, it's called the classic straight line stock. Basically, it's just the stock that helps with your aiming stability and hurts your aiming movement speed. When it comes to aiming stability, just in case you weren't aware, this is how much your gun will actually move while aiming down sight. It's kind of like your idle sway from the past, but they have changed up the idle sway a little bit this year. And you can see pretty clearly that it definitely helps with your aiming stability to be using this heavier or more stable stock. However, the downside to this is a reduction to your aim walking movement speed, so your aim down sight strafe speed, and this actually reduces your aim down sight strafe speed by 12% across the board regardless of the weapon class that you're using, which is a pretty noticeable change to your aim down sight strafe speed for sure. So this stock is definitely not meant for people that want to be aggressive and highly mobile. It's made more for the class types where you want to hang back and pick people off at a longer range. As for the next stock, this is the strafing stock, the one that helps with your aim walking movement speed, and this improves your aim walking movement speed by roughly 13 to 15%. I was getting a little bit of variance there, but it's right in that window, and this is absolutely a great improvement to your aim down sight strafe speed. However, the con to this is you lose some of that aiming stability, and you can see here when looking at before and after, your gun is moving around quite a bit more, and this is going to make it much harder to hit that first shot at longer ranges. Now I should be clear here with aiming stability, it only applies when you're not firing your gun. The moment you start firing your gun, this aiming stability mechanic completely disengages, so this doesn't actually affect the recoil of your gun, it just affects your ability to hit that first shot on target. But this brings us into the next stock, and this is the aiming down sight stock. This one obviously helps with your aim down sight speed, and what I found is this improves your aim down sight speed by 10%. What this means is for the SMGs and assault rifles, this is really only going to have a 1 frame impact on your aim down sight speed, which is hardly noticeable for most people. However, when you look at LMGs as well as sniper rifles, this is where you start to notice more of an impact with this aiming down sight stock, and it becomes a lot more worthwhile. As for our reduction to our aiming stability, we actually get less aiming stability than we do with the strafing stock. So this hurts our aiming stability even more, which means, at least for me, I tend to stay away from this stock on SMGs and assault rifles because the downsides are outweighing the benefits at that point. If you have a gun that's really slow at aiming down sight though, this is often a great choice for you. But this just leaves us with that 4th generic stock type, and this is the no stock attachment, or with many of the SMGs, it's going to be a collapsible stock. And with this one, it gives you a roughly 4% increase to your overall movement speed, which is quite noticeable. That's a pretty solid boost to your movement speed. And in addition to that, we get a boost to our aim down sight speed, and this time it's about a 20% reduction to our aim down sight time, which is a much more noticeable benefit even on SMGs and assault rifles. So if you really want to make your gun as snappy as possible, this is definitely the way to go. However, it does have some downsides as well. The first downside is, once again, you lose some of that aiming stability, so your gun will be moving around a little bit. Also, something that's not stated here is you often hold the gun in a different way, and you actually hold the gun a little bit further away from you than you normally would. Now, this doesn't change your actual field of view, it's just the gun model and also your sight picture will look a little bit different when using the no stock attachment, at least for many of the guns. This doesn't really have any statistical effect on anything, I just wanted to point out there is a visual difference here. In addition to that, this does hurt your recoil control a bit, which I'm not going to go through every single one of the guns in the game, but if you guys remember from the recoil video, where I looked at the best attachments to help you with recoil, I'll leave that link down below if you want to check that out after this video. But recoil control is your vertical recoil, so this is going to make it so you have more vertical recoil with your guns, and it's hard to quantify, just know that it definitely does add a little bit of recoil. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for all of the generic stocks that we tend to see. Again, just remember there are some guns that have very special, unique stocks that have other effects, and those will be covered in the individual gun guide episodes. But hopefully this will at least clear some things up for you guys and help you make better decisions when it comes to selecting a stock on your weapon. I know it's helped me a lot. I was very confused about this with all the different names that they had for these various stocks. But now that I know that it's just 4 different stock types, it's actually quite simple. And with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, which stock attachment, if any, do you tend to lean towards in Modern Warfare so far? Do you prefer that heavier, more stable style stock, or do you prefer the strafing stock, for instance? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.